Hey there, everybody. Just getting ready to start in a moment. If you don't have your water, need to go pee, here's the time. About to get started. One moment here. Okay, there's there. Make sure I'm live. So I am live on YouTube, Facebook, our Smoothie Shred group on Facebook, Instagram. So have to make sure everybody's up and running. And then we get rolling. Okay, and that's there. So one moment there. Okay. One more spot and we'll be set. All right. And I'm on time. Here we go. Okay. So I'm just going to do this and try to mute it here. And that way. All right. Got Smoothie Shred. All right. It's time. I'm here. Hello. It's Dr. Brooke Goldner from Goodbye Lupus. And today is Wellness Wednesday, where I come on to serve the public, to help any way I can with giving you good information and advice on health, wellness, happiness, nutrition, disease reversal, everything I can do to help you live a better life. This can't substitute for medical care. I'm not your doctor just because you see me here on the internet, but I am here for support. And if you want to make big changes to your diet, especially, make sure you run it by your doctor, especially if you have any nutrition restrictions that you need to talk to them about because of your medicines or organ issues. But as I said, I'm here to serve as much as I can. One of the ways I want to remind you that you can continue to get more help from me is to make sure you watch my online classes. So my online classes have been very effective in helping people reverse their diseases. I've actually recently shown some online posts people have made where they just watched my classes, read my book, Goodbye Lupus, Goodbye Autoimmune Disease, and reverse their diseases successfully. I mean, you could literally do it for free, right? So I want to make sure that you're not sick because of a lack of information. So those online classes, which are available for lifetime access to people want to purchase them for lifetime access, $47, and you can watch one class at a time whenever you want, log in anytime you want. A lot of people watch them over and over on a regular basis. I also put them up for free on a single video through an EverWebinar system. And so that people can get motivated. Go in, watch it, right? So they're available right now. If you go to goodbyelupus.com, or if you do the link tree, that's there's links with most of my videos, or on Instagram, there's a link in my profile, or just go to goodbyelupus.com. You'll see the classes there are available free till August 10th. So if you want to pay $0, imagine this. People are actually healing by watching free classes, reading a book at the library, and coming to free Q&As. And I'm glad for it, because my goal is not to be needed. My goal is that these diseases become a part of our past because we know better. And so I'm happy to provide as much support as I can from the public, in between all the people that I do see personally as well. There are some people who want my help. Speaking of people who want my help, 6-week rapid recovery group, August 16th. We are over 2/3 full now. The closer we get, the more people tend to sign up. And so if you are someone who actually wants my help in getting better every single day for 6 weeks, that rapid recovery group is August 16th. Goodbyelupus.com. You can find it. My link tree, you can find it. But just letting you know that, so those of you who want to do it, don't miss your spot, because unfortunately, every single group so far, as soon as it fills up, I get messages from people who are like begging me to let more people in. And I will never sacrifice the quality of care I give people. So although I could double the group size, I won't do it, because right now we are giving really, really good help, and we have remarkable results because of the individual attention everybody gets. So you get in. If you don't get in, you can get on the wait list for the next one, but I just want you to know that. So that's goodbyelupus.com. Okay. So got free classes, group for people who need it. Lesson of the day before we get into questions. I'm just going to give you the last one I was just working with someone on. So I just got off the phone with a lovely woman. I've been really enjoying working with her. She's a senior who just wants to be healthier. She knows she deals with food addiction issues. She knows she deals with energy issues, gets too many colds. But, there are some folks who see me who don't have devastating illnesses, but just know that they could live better. And what we were just working on right before I came to you, we just hung up, is coping skills. She is a retired woman who's never really learned about coping skills. I had to define it for her. But the reason we're talking about this is because when she gets upset, she has a glass of wine. And if she has one glass of wine, she's likely to have a second glass of wine. And the problem is she's got bronchitis. She's got other issues going on. She's got energy issues. She's trying to eat healthier. And when you drink alcohol, guess what happens to your food choices? Then that goes down. And she goes from wanting a salad to wanting a hot dog, right? So we were just discussing this. And I'm hoping all of you can relate to it. I mean, hey, I can. I wasn't born eating kale like my kids got to. I grew up on macaroni and cheese and Chef Boyardee. And if you're in a bad mood, have some ice cream, right? So we often learn that if you're feeling badly, then you need to find a way to stop feeling badly as quickly as possible, right? We want to turn off the bad feeling. And so what do? Usually anything that will work immediately in the moment, most of the time is not good for you, right? If you're exhausted and you're using caffeine to keep you going, eventually you're going to become resistant to the perk of caffeine and you're just going to become dependent and you're going to be more exhausted all the time. Plus your sleep's going to go ahead, right? If you have anxiety and you take benzodiazepines like Valium, Xanax, when you first start using it, you're like, oh my God, I don't have anxiety anymore. Except then it starts to not work that well. And then you need more and then you need more. And then you take it round the clock and you're still anxious all day, more anxious than you were before you started, right? So usually the quick fixes, they don't work out long-term, right? The other problem with a quick fix like that, where they're not even a fix, trying to not feel in the moment, is the original problem you're trying to solve still stays there, right? If I have stress and I drink 2 glasses of wine, I might not feel stressed for a few hours, right? Problem is when the wine wears off, that problem is still there. And now added to it are new problems. Maybe a hangover, right? Maybe I've hurt my health because I'm sick and I'm trying to heal from something, right? So when you don't cope with a problem, but instead you try to suppress the feeling, the problem never goes away. An example I give you is, let's say we have a pot of water on the stove and it keeps boiling over, right? And you can hear the sizzling, it's boiling over, right? When you drink alcohol or eat unhealthy foods or use drugs or cut yourself or anything else that people do that are unhealthy coping, right? If you do those things, all you're really doing is for the moment pouring some cold water on the top. So what does that do? It temporarily cools the water off so that it stops boiling over. Well, what's the problem? The stove is still on. So very quickly, guess what's going to happen? The water's going to heat right back up and start boiling over again. And that's what happens when you try to suppress your feelings rather than real coping. So real coping is doing something that solves the issue, right? So solving the issue. So how do you feel better in that moment while addressing that problem that's still sitting there, right? We don't want to just pretend it's not there for a few hours and then build on it. We want to do something to fix it. So this is, by the way, this skill right here that I'm teaching you, this is one of the reasons why my rapid recovery programs are so successful. It was one of the main reasons, besides the fact that we're watching people every day, is when someone has a problem or they do eat off plan or something goes wrong, in the moment, we work through it with them and say, hey, what was your trigger? What did you trip over? How are you feeling that day? How did you sleep that day? What was going on in your life? And I help people see how it wasn't just, I felt like having a drink, or I felt like having a cookie, but I help them see all the triggers. Some people, it's their sleep level, their work stress, not saying no, their mother, whatever it is, right? But once you can identify all the triggers, then we know what problems to solve, right? That it's not, I'm stressed and I drank, but as I worked through with her, I'm sensitive to rejection. And somebody said something like this. I'm sensitive to stress and I was stressed about this. And all these other things are going on. I've been feeling sick and under the weather. And all right. And so when we put all those together, it's like, oh my gosh. So we need a coping skill for dealing with this person who upsets you. We need a coping skill of how to address that sensitivity you feel. Let's go through and figure out why it's there. I'm good with helping people with that. And we need to work on getting you healthier from this virus, right? So again, and then we also have to solve, like, why are you drinking? Well, wine's got to leave the house, because if you can't suppress it, you'll have to solve it, right? And so right there in the moment, even in a half-hour session, we came up with coping skills that she can apply to the issue that caused her to drink that day. Now, there'll be new issues, right? So that's why I like working with people every day, because if we can solve all the issues and really address the triggers, then you can stop just trying to feel better in the moment by eating some sugar or eating some oil or drinking some alcohol. And instead, let's turn down that flame. A lot of people have had the stove on so long, they don't even know it. Why am I always sweating? Why am I always so angry? When people are angry and they snap easily, it has nothing to do with the person they just got mad at. It has to do with their flame being too high, right? If you boil over too easily, then your flame is too high. Why is it too high? Trauma, right? Things that were done to you in your life, stress, poor sleep, poor nutrition, bad boundaries, unhealthy relationships, all those things turn up the heat. And so when people are trying to get healthier, yes, nutrition is essential because the nutrition gives your body what it needs to repair the damage. And if you're eating the wrong things, it's creating more damage. So that's essential. But if you're doing nutrition and you're not getting better, then there's a good chance that it's not just the unhealthy foods that are adding to the flame, but there's a lot of other stuff that's affecting you. And so what I like to do is help people optimize all those areas. So I do want you to check that out. If you are using food or alcohol as a crutch to feel better, then you're not actually helping yourself feel better at all. You're just adding more fire and you're allowing the things that hurt you to stay. And if you really want to be healthier and also happier, we've got to face those things and address them. If you're not doing that with me, then that's, then work with a therapist, work with someone about this and say, hey, I boil over way too easily. I don't have coping skills. I tend to eat or drink when I'm upset. I need help with that. And find someone who can help you. If you try 5 people and they don't help, try 6, right? But continue to give yourself that permission, and it's going to create so much more happiness in your life. When you can keep that flame low and let yourself be at peace, then when bad things happen, you have more bandwidth, right? The reason I don't boil over even with traumatic and stressful things is because I keep the flame low to begin with healthy relationships and good self-care, right? So I do those things. When there's a problem, I face it, I solve it. I don't let it linger. And so then when the big things happen, I have a bandwidth to be able to cope with that too. All right. Feel the heat for sure. But I know how to get myself to a healthy place again because I don't let those things linger. So I hope that helps you too. If you're realizing that, I hope that was your aha moment today. Okay, let's get to the questions. Now, normally I go between YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Smoothie Shred, right? That's usually the way I go. But we have a different thing today. Today, I got a mail-in. Question. So I'm going to answer the mail-in question from Diane Corey, who she was having trouble figuring out how to post a question to the to YouTube or online. And so she found my my mailbox address for my practice, and she sent a letter to my practice asking me to email her back to let her know when I answered it. So I hope you're watching, Diane, because I did email you yesterday to say today I was going to answer your question. So I feel kind of like Carson right now. They're like, let's check from the letters at home. So good on you, Diane, for figuring out a way to do this. I find this so amazing. I'm like, I got a mail-in question for my Q&A. So I'm going to read her question, and then we're going to answer it, and then we'll go on to YouTube next. All right. So hello, Dr. Brooke Goldner. I've been watching your videos. I bought and read Goodbye Lupus. We were very impressed with how you overcame severe lupus and became a picture of good health. I'm an 80-year-old grandmother who had stomach staple surgery about 40 years ago, and I now have painful arthritis problems with my back. I saw a video where you said your program could reverse a chronic malady in 6 weeks by drinking green smoothies and following a vegetarian diet. Although green smoothies do not appeal to me, I still decided to give it a try. Beginning April 1st, I whipped up and consumed 2 quarts of green a day. I stopped meat, dairy, and ultra-processed foods for the next week. I made the smoothies from spring mix salad greens. Then I added arugula to the mix. I think I might be allergic to arugula because I immediately got sick and threw up. The question is, what kind of greens must be used for smoothies to be effective? My week 1 diet was not fun, but if it will cure my arthritis pain, I thought I could stick with it for 5 more weeks. Do you think I can adjust the smoothie recipe to avoid activating my allergy but still cure my arthritis? How should I do this? If you could respond by email and let me know when you'll address my question, I would really appreciate it. Thanks for your advice, Diane Corey. So I adore this, Diane. This is great. So of course, it's taken me a little longer to answer the question because most of you ask me in the moment. But this shows me someone who is not going to let anything stop her, right? When I say never let anything stop you, find a game plan, she found a game plan. She found the address and mailed it in. So Let me address this one at a time. So stomach stapling surgery. I see a lot of people who have either procedures like this that decrease stomach size or gastric bypass who later develop arthritis. Why? One of the main issues is when people's stomach size is smaller, they tend to rely more on processed stuff like protein powders. I worked with a lady who had gastric bypass. She was actually one of the poster children for gastric bypass surgery. Literally, they put her on the posters for the hospital. And her doctor told her just protein shakes all day and you'll be fine. And she did that and she lost all the weight and developed crippling arthritis. They're whey dairy based, they're ultra processed, and they're extremely unhealthy. So people are not able to eat large amounts of the foods they need to get well. And then what they are eating is ultra processed and unhealthy. So there's probably some of the reason here, right? I'm guessing that what you were eating probably was contributing to this, right? Thankfully, you didn't get gastric bypass. But so that's number one, right? So I'm glad you want to do something about this. Number two, we can get your inflammation down and get you feeling better. Whether or not you feel better in 1 week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, or 8 weeks, or whatever, that I don't know. So make sure when you're making a game plan, Diane, that you don't base it off of time, but off of results, right? So if you are 90% better in 6 weeks, then you keep going till you're 100%, right? So base it off that, right? Another thing is the hypernourishment program is something that you want to do forever. Once you find the antidote for inflammation and disease, you don't just use it as needed, you use it always, right? So like I've been symptom-free with normal blood tests for over 18 years, almost 19 years, still drinking this. Here. Why? It keeps me unusually healthy, right? So for someone like I'm 47 years old and I'm unusually healthy for even someone anywhere near my age, right? I'm healthier than I ever was even as a teenager. I was in kidney failure and blood clots and all that. I mean, I was sick as a teenager, but just saying, healthiest I've ever been as I get older. Unusual, right? Why? I consume the antidote every day. So now that you're learning that this is the antidote, it's not, I don't want you to ever get rid of it. So when your arthritis goes away, still eat a plant-based diet, still have your raw foods, right? You just don't have to be as strict about it all the time once you're well, all right? Next thing I want to address is, you don't have to do it by smoothies unless you want to. So some people love, most people love smoothies. I do too, because so easy, right? I just pick up the cup and drink it and I can work and it's not intrusive and I get it done and I don't have to take a break. I'm not good at breaks. I like to be on a roll when I work because I take a break. Now I'm like out of the headspace. I like to be in my work headspace and then be in my relaxed, silly rest of the time headspace, right? So smoothies let me stay focused and not have to leave my headspace, my work. Other folks just don't like to eat raw vegetables that much, and smoothies make it easier. If they make you nauseous, you don't like them, you can just eat the salads, and that works too, okay? One issue, one thing you got wrong here, though, is you were using spring mix salad greens. That's lettuce. Lettuce is not a high nutrient vegetable. Arugula is, but if it makes you puke, don't eat arugula. So for high nutrient vegetables that are good in smoothies, spinach, kale, power greens or super greens, where it's like a mix of kale, spinach, collard greens, chard, stuff like that. Most people like those mixes and do pretty well with that. But the salad greens aren't going to do it. They don't have enough nutrition. And make sure you're using the recipes. So if you go to smoothieshred.com, and I'll put a link in when I'm done with our website, but smoothieshred.com, we have free recipes for smoothies. In my book, Hello Delicious, I have smoothie recipes in there. So if you wanted free recipes, go to smoothieshred.com. We have lots of free recipes there and they work. So a lot of times when people don't like their smoothie, it's because they're going rogue. They're just shoving vegetables in a blender and hoping it tastes good, which is what we did when we first started. And there was a lot of bad smoothies until we figured out the formula. So follow our formula for free and get some ones that you like. So that's what I do. So I think I hit all the things: the stomach stapling, the arthritis. Don't focus on 6 weeks, get your results, but also keep the antidote and make sure that you're using high nutrient greens. Don't eat the ones you don't like. And if smoothies still bother you, you can eat the raw foods through salads or any of the recipes and go buy Lucas Hello Delicious. So there you go, Dad. Thanks for writing in. And I hope that helped you and everybody else who I'm sure shares the same kind of issues and problems. So, all right, there we go. Question. Let's go to YouTube. I feel like I just went back to like the 80s. You know, what was it? What was Carson reading mail from home? It was like the 80s, 90s. So yeah, that was a very retro moment, brought to you by Goodbye Lupus. All right, let's see. Let's see here. So Alexandra asked a bunch of questions all at once. So thanks for the love. Let's see. What brand of flaxseed oil and chia seed oil do you recommend? I don't have a brand recommendation right now. I mean, what you're looking for, because there's different brands in different places, is you want it to be cold pressed. You want it to be filtered. And you can use, if you can get like an organic glass bottle, awesome. Flax oil, the easiest one most people get is Barleans. It is in a plastic bottle. But you know, those are the most important things. And if you can, go to a store that sells supplements and go to the refrigerated area. So like Whole Foods, Sprouts, a lot of places like that, they have an area with refrigerated supplements and you find it there. Do not use the stuff that's in the oil aisle of the supermarket. They've now been making new versions of flax oil that's processed in a way that allows it to be tolerant to heat so people can cook with it. Don't cook with it and don't oxidize the omega-3s. Don't get this processed stuff. It still says cold press, which is upsetting. It's obviously been altered because omega-3s are extremely sensitive to oxidation or breakdown by heat or air. So not the way, but that's where I would look. Let's see. And Alexander also wants to know, will hypernourishment maintain ferritin levels after taking iron supplements? It depends on the reason. So if your reason that you get iron deficient is because you have heavy periods and you're still having heavy periods, then no, right? So just see what you can. I have had people where they initially needed iron or even transfusions, and then they stopped needing it and they were able to maintain on their vegetables. But, you know, if you need iron, take it. So let me see. And then the other one she was asking is, can hypernourishment cure liver hemangiomas, depersonalization, derealization? So those are very different things. Liver hemangiomas, I don't know. What I do know is that the folks we see with fatty liver disease, high elevated liver enzymes for unknown reasons, and autoimmune hepatitis, all of them have reversed the issues with their blood tests. All of their liver function tests look normal, usually in the first month, often sooner than that. Depersonalization, derealization, these are often symptoms of trauma, although it can be medical reasons as well. But that food in and of itself is not usually the answer unless that is a symptom of an illness that you have that is metabolic in some way or inflammatory. But typically I see that in things like depression. Okay. Let me go one for one today. Let's go over to Instagram. All right, I got to scroll back down. All right, let's see. Mama Slaw wants to know, any upper limit on flax chia after a certain point you achieve max benefit? No, so there's no upper limit in terms of side effects. Like there's certain things where there's a sweet spot, and then if you go past the sweet spot, now you can start causing problems, right? Then there's medicines are like that, right? There's a sweet spot in which it makes people better, and then if you go any higher, now you start to cause overdose, right? So it's not like that. There's definitely a max benefit you'll get, though. I mean, there's only so much you can absorb in a day. How much that is for you, I don't know, right? What we do know is the hypernourishment levels that have been shown to cause benefits, and then some people will go up from there. So if you're looking for max benefit, you know, you might just kind of titrate up, be like, oh, let me add a tablespoon of flax oil, see how that does, because flax oil is very potent. And if you're still getting more benefits, you can add more if you want. Usually, though, what makes people stop continuing to titrate it up is the gut, right? So there's only so much oil your gut can take before you feel nauseous or have diarrhea. There's only so much fiber you can take before you get overly bloated and even constipated, right? So chia and flax seeds have high amounts of undigestible fiber. Some of that helps you go better. Too much of that can actually cause you to have trouble going and kind of paralyze the bowels a bit. So usually it's the gut that tells people when to stop. But when we've tested it in recovery, we have found that there's been no downside. The more people consume, the better, faster their recovery. Also better satiety, because fats make you feel more satiety. The brain gets a signal when you eat fats that makes you feel more full. It's called cholecystokinin. It's a satiety signal. So it's one of the reasons why people on very low fat diets often feel hungry all the time. No satiety signal, right? So people feel more satiety. When we've tested it in fitness, my husband had largest boot camps in Orange County, California back in the day, and he tested omega-3s and fat loss, and he found the higher the dose, the faster the fat loss, with no upper limit until they said, I'm not going to have another spoon of this oil. I'm going to puke. And he goes, okay, there's the upper limit, right? So, and that was looking at metabolism, right? So in terms of metabolic rate, in terms of healing, we don't have an upper limit. But in terms of your gut distress, yeah, that would be, that's usually what makes people decide that. So if you're getting the minimums in that I tell you for hypernourishment, you're doing well for healing. But if you want more, usually that's totally fine for folks as well. Some people really, really like it. Hi, Natalie. I'm glad you're making your salad right now. I'm doing well. All right, let's see. All right. Okay, let's see here. Oh, man. I wonder if we can get this one on. See if this is showing up here. I don't think it will. I want you to be able to see this. All right, let's see if I can. I'm going to see if I can share it. I want you to be able to see. All right, I'm going to try, guys. I'm going to see if I can kind of share my screen this way. I think I can, right? Okay, sweet. So I wanted to tell you, this is a previous member of my 6-week rapid recovery group. Can I? There you go. All right. I was trying to make it bigger, but I'm struggling to make it so you can see it. So if you look at this one here from Antoinette, it says, it's Dr. LaShawn. I went to my gynecologist for the first day. So she's an MD as well. Since I started eating raw last July in your rapid recovery group last September, I'm now doing my step down. She said my uterus was smaller on exam and my ultrasound showed it was smaller and all my fibroids are gone. So how cool is that? Now it's like endless sharing. This is kind of amazing. It's like the infinity sharing going on. But I absolutely love it. So just like you just saw there, I have a lot of doctors that do my rapid recovery program. It turns out when doctors get sick, they also don't want to have to take all those pills and not get better. And they get frustrated because their own patients don't get better. So I do have a lot of doctors that do my program. And it's wonderful because that means they're also helping their own patients once they, learn how to get better themselves. So really cool. So for any of you that wrote a question asking about fibroids, there you go. We've had great results with that where people have avoided surgery, people who were on the brink of getting surgery to remove their uterus. And instead, they were able to keep it and have the issue go away. So it's pretty cool, right? So, all right, let me see here. So let's go to the questions now. That one was at the bottom. I had to show you. All right, let's see. All right, so Melanie wanted to know. What strategies do you recommend for overcoming panic attacks related to illness trauma? I'm doing well now, thanks to you and your protocol. Panic attacks still pop up once in a while. Okay, so first of all, I'm so glad you're healthy now, right? So if your panic attacks have to do with health, then some of it just takes the work of dissociating that. So I've also worked with people in my group about this, right? Because again, if anything you work on daily, you're going to get better at. So if you work on something once a week, it takes a lot to get better, right? A lot of people do therapy once a week and years go by where they're still struggling to get better. Not everyone, hey, if you're doing the work and incorporating the message is good, but for a lot of folks, they don't. They talk once a week and then they kind of not really much changes, right? But when you're working on it every day, now you're getting into it, right? So what I want you to start working on every day is now releasing the fear around your health. So panic comes in because of this overwhelming fear. It's your fight or flight response kicking in because your brain has now learned that life isn't safe, right? A lot of you experience anxiety, right? I know this. Why? Because there's a high level of autoimmune and inflammatory illness in people with high levels of anxiety and trauma. And also people who are chronically ill develop anxiety and trauma. So just from experience, I know that a lot of you have anxiety and have experienced panic. So what I want you to do is start dissociating that to say, okay, brain, I get it. You are trying to protect me by going into fight or flight, right? Because life's not safe anymore. I got this debilitating illness and I almost lost everything. And so your brain is like, oh, right? It's getting into the spot. And so you need to start working on lowering that heat every day on letting your brain know, no, everything's okay now. I don't need to go there. Because now I know what to do. I'm eating well. I'm taking care of myself. I'm healthy now. I don't need to go there. And so when you feel it starting to rev up, you notice it. You have to work on the mindfulness of being aware of the moods and then tell yourself, no, I don't need to do that. I'm under control right now. I know what I'm doing. I'm taking care of myself. And the other thing is it doesn't work, right? When you get into a panic state, you're not actually solving anything. So it does take daily work on this. And that's like a short version because I did a really big segment in the beginning of this working on coping and mental health that I hope was contributing to this. But some of it is really doing daily work on the deprogramming. I am well now. I'm okay. I got it under control. It's all right, brain. You can let that go. You don't have to go there, right? It's part of the work we do even in trauma in general, even if the trauma led to your illness, is your brain will start to go into a scary place and you got to be willing to yank it back and say, no, we don't need to go there right now. Sometimes you need to cry and mourn, and that's okay too. But then you got to come back, right? But if your panic is still about illness and you're actually healthy, then you have every right to tell your brain, hey, nope. If something goes wrong, I'll deal with it then. I'll make a game plan to fix it if something goes wrong. But right now, all is good, right? You don't need to walk around with an open umbrella when it's sunny out. All you're going to do is feel like it's never sunny. It's always so dark and gloomy, not because it's raining out, but because you have an umbrella hiding the sun. That's anxiety. Close the umbrella, take it with you. That's a game plan. If it rains, I'll open it. But in the meantime, enjoy the sunlight, right? It takes daily work on the mindset to make those changes. All right, let's see here. Let's go back over here to regular Facebook. All right, let's see. All right. All right, let's see here. Oh, you're welcome, Danielle. Okay. So, this is a long one. There was something I could do to make it not do that. Let me see if I could do it so it kind of lowers it. Let's see. No, can't figure it out right now. All right, we'll leave it there. You can just look at my nose. All right. So Elise says, hello. I have Hashimoto's, but don't take any meds because my TSH and T4 are in range. Should I also take 300 micrograms, of iodine, and not 150 if I'm not on thyroid meds? My TPO antibodies are high at 354. Recently, I found out my free T3 is too low. I've since increased my iodine from 150 to 225 micrograms. Could you kindly explain the research behind why Hashimoto's need 300? Nowhere else have I seen this recommendation. So, all right, this is distracting. I'm going to take off the share. Okay, so let me get this, a couple things. Let me go in order. So, I'm kind of go backwards. My recommendation comes from experience. So, and research. So looking at, and I've explained this in detail before, I discovered that iodine deficiency was causing abnormalities in TSH working with my clients. So I've been doing disease reversal for many years with thousands of people. And there became a period of time where only good things were happening. And then all of a sudden, I'd see people where the TSH was creeping up. I'm like, why is your TSH creeping up? Even if they didn't have a thyroid, what's going on here? And what I found out was that people who were getting into health, right? People start getting into health, and maybe this has happened to you. You go down the rabbit hole. Well, maybe I can have healthier spices. Maybe I can have healthier skincare. Maybe I can have healthier cookware. Right? So maybe I can have healthier salt. So what I figured out is I was like, okay, what contributes to TSH, right? You have to be able to, well, TSH goes up when your body is being too slow at making thyroid hormone, right? So TSH is the nag hormone. Hey, thyroid, give me some hormone. Hey, thyroid, give me some hormone. And so the TSH is higher, the more it has to ask, basically, right? I always say it's like asking my son to put his laundry away. How many times do I have to ask? That's TSH, right? Eventually it goes away, but how many times did I have to ask, right? So it's the same thing with thyroid hormone. If your body is making the hormone, but you have to ask a lot, TSH goes up. So in Hashimoto's, which is one way in which people get hypothyroid, the thyroid starts getting destroyed and the body has to ask more often. It's struggling to make thyroid hormone because there's less thyroid to do the job, right? So as the thyroid gets destroyed, you have less cells having to do the same job as all the cells used to do, right? Any of you ever experienced that, right? Someone gets laid off and now you have more work to do. Same thing going on with the thyroid. So for a lot of folks, even in early Hashimoto's, their TSH and their thyroid hormone levels are still normal range. But over time, the TSH will start to creep up higher, even if it's in normal range, even though the thyroid hormone levels are staying the same, because your body's asking more. Why? Less workers, right? So hopefully that makes sense. I like to make things as simplified and visual as possible, right? So when I was thinking about that, I'm like, why would someone who doesn't have Hashimoto's have their TSH go up? Maybe they're lacking ingredients. What are the ingredients for thyroid hormone? Well, the one ingredient that we can't synthesize ourselves is iodine, has to be consumed. Where do most people get their iodine? From table salt. Many, many years ago, the government of most first world nations decided to add iodine to table salt so that everyone would just automatically get their iodine. Iodine is essential for thyroid function and brain function. There's brain diseases caused by thyroid deficiencies. There's places in the world where they don't have good nutrition and they have brain disease from low iodine. Okay. So I realized, I started talking to people. What salt do you use? And all of them with the high TSH without Hashimoto's, all of them were using sea salt with no iodine. So they were accidentally giving themselves a high TSH because they weren't giving themselves enough ingredients. So I started telling people, fine, if you want to use sea salt, supplement the iodine. But then how much iodine should you use? Now I had to dive into the research, right? And look at all the different studies they've done to try to figure out what is the dose of iodine people are supposed to get. Well, the first research was already done. The 150 micrograms was already done. Guess how much iodine is in 1 teaspoon of salt? 150 micrograms. Not a mistake, right? Not an accident. So 3/4 to 1 teaspoon of iodized table salt happens to have the daily allowance of iodine. Why? Because up until recently, like the recent past 15 years or so, everybody put salt in their food, and about a teaspoon a day, definitely, between restaurants, processed foods, home, everyone got a teaspoon of salt a day. And that's why you've never heard of this. And that's why doctors haven't heard of it. I've had so many battles with people's doctors. Well, I don't battle. You know me. I don't need to battle. What do your results show, right? I've had so many people where their doctors have said, you shouldn't supplement iodine. That's not a thing. We weren't taught that. It's true we weren't taught that. I wasn't taught that, but I'm always still learning. I don't stop learning. And I work with people every day. So I see problems they don't, right? Because I can see the difference. I'm working with someone every day. What's changing? What are your labs doing? What are your symptoms doing? How come all your symptoms went away, but now your TSH is elevated? Why, right? So anyway, that's one issue. Now, there's been less studies looking at hypothyroid and iodine requirements. Well, what the most recent studies have shown when they've tested it is the conclusion that I saw that was most consistent was when people have hypothyroid, meaning you have less thyroid to do the job, they require about 300 micrograms of iodine. Iodine has a sweet spot. We're doing sweet spots today. That's the theme of the day, sweet spot, right? So too much iodine can poison the thyroid. I met with someone last month who was doing a mega dose of iodine. I'm like, oh my God, you're destroying your thyroid, because you can poison the thyroid with megadose and you can suffocate yourself from making thyroid hormone with not enough. So for people with hypothyroid, 300 micrograms has been the effective dose. And then I test it. Everything I teach comes from results. So once I tested it, I have found that to be true. When people don't listen to me, they get issues with their TSH. Now, the other factor, that reason I see it, is cruciferous vegetables, which are essential for healing, even from Hashimoto's and Graves' disease. When you eat anything that has nutrients, nutrients compete for absorption, right? Calcium and iron compete for absorption, right? So many different things compete for absorption. Doesn't mean that you don't consume them. It just means you have to be aware of it if you have an issue, right? So iodine is absorbed less readily when you eat cruciferous vegetables, right? Cruciferous vegetables are necessary for healing. Iodine is necessary for your thyroid and your brain. So if you have thyroid disease, I recommend you take your thyroid hormone separately from your cruciferous vegetables. So you can eat it with other foods, or you can just take it with your thyroid hormone in the morning and then eat a couple hours later, it'll be fine. All right. Finally, to get to the other part of your question, you have your TSH and free T4 are in range, but I don't know your trends. So thyroid disease is not supposed to be diagnosed by numbers on a test. It's supposed to be diagnosed by symptoms and by trends. So if your TSH is in range, but it's still been going up from where it used to be, I would still go with the 300. If you, and also you said your T3 is low, but your T4 is in range. So T4 is a storage form of thyroid hormone. T3 is the active form of thyroid hormone. So your body takes TSH, tells your thyroid to make T4. T4 is then converted into T3, which is what you actually feel in your bloodstream Hormone, I feel it, right? Some people take T4 as a medicine. There are some people who take T3 as a medicine, but doctors usually stingy with it because T3 is active thyroid hormone and it makes people buzzy and sometimes anxious. So we have to be very, very tiny microdoses of it. Anyway, so I can't answer for you whether or not you really are deficient just from what you wrote there, but I gave a really long explanation just now, one to help you and one to help everyone else, because the most common autoimmune disease that I work with is Hashimoto's. It is one of the most common autoimmune diseases there is. Even people I see, like I saw someone yesterday, wanted to talk about whether or not they might have an autoimmune disease. I'm like, you've had Hashimoto's for 30 years. Yes, you have autoimmune disease. People don't think of it as autoimmune, but it is, right? They just don't treat it as autoimmune with immunosuppressants because you can replace the thyroid with a pill. Other autoimmune disease can't be fixed once those organs are destroyed. That's literally the reason why you don't go to rheumatology for Hashimoto's. So looking at your trends, that's how I would decide. So if I was working with you, that's what I'd be looking at, Elise. I'd look at your trends, I'd look at your symptoms, and then I'd decide. But if you're low in T3 and your TSH is still on the higher end of normal, most likely you still need to take the 300 because your body's still struggling to make the hormone it needs. But without knowing you, I can't say. But I would say go all out on my Goodbye Autoimmune protocol. Let's get rid of those antibodies completely. And then we can talk about how you maintain your thyroid health now that you're free from Hashimoto's. When you say goodbye Hashimoto's, as so many of my clients have. All right, that was a deep dive, but I think it was important because so many of you deal with this issue, have questions about iodine. Hopefully that solved it. So if someone asks me next Q&A, I'm going to tell them, watch the clip and we'll make a clip. Leo, clip, iodine. Got it. Got thumbs up. He makes the best videos, right? Everybody loves your videos. It's like, he makes me more interesting with all the graphics. Okay, let me see here. All right, so let me go to Instagram. All right. Michael Major wants to know about POTS. People do really well with POTS in my program, and I've had people completely reverse their symptoms within even the 6 weeks of my group. They do really well. Had people make videos about that. Rose made one years ago, so that's one you can check out. I am Mitri. Thanks for wishing me a good week. I am having a good week. Hi, Rosa. First time here. Welcome. Yeah, I'm actually excited. My sister-in-law is visiting. I'm going to get to see her today. So if you're watching, hey, Di. So let's see here. Even Fruit Paradise said, is there a reason to not have, I think you mean berries in the smoothie? It says berry, but I'm guessing you did speak to text. I do that all the time. And it's really fun to see what my phone makes out of a New York edged accent. Why do I not use berries in the smoothie? Taste. I think berries taste awful in smoothies. It makes it sour. I like to eat berries very much. Some of you might have seen my birthday video during COVID where all I wanted was like berries. They're so good and they're expensive. So I don't normally treat myself to it, but I did. I had blueberries and raspberries, and blackberries. They're so expensive, right? So eating them, fun. But then you put them in a smoothie and it's kind of sour. There's no sweetness. So if you like berries, go for it. Enjoy. But my recipes are the ones that I like. So typically, you're not going to see that. Although in Goodbye Lupus, Hello Delicious, we had recipes. All of the recipes in that book either come from me, my family, or the people who healed in my program. So it is a book of healing recipes for real because people have healed with these recipes, right? So there are recipes in there that have berries. Like Tina, she submitted a recipe that was cauliflower berry smoothie, and it's actually really good. But when you're looking for a sweet smoothie, bananas, mangoes, pineapples, or frozen pineapple especially, delicious. Grapes are really good. So yeah, when you're looking for sweetness, which most people are, those are my go-tos. But yeah, I just never really liked berries in my smoothies. So yeah, taste. But if you like them, you go. Remember, the fruit is just to get the smoothie to taste good enough that you don't mind drinking it. You know, I always use the quote, the spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down, right? Like it's just a little bit of sweetness to make you want to drink the smoothie. But if you like it with no fruit, hallelujah. If you like it with berries, way to go. We just want to get all that food down this hole by the end of the day. However you like it. You can chew it, you can drink it. You want berries, you do it. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Let me see here. All right, let's see here. right, let's see if here we go. Oh, it is showing up on this feed. Awesome. My smoothie shredders are here. All right. Let's see. So Pete says, oh, you're welcome, Pete. I have PCOS and a stomach debridement down to the stomach wall due to necrotizing fasciitis infection. Oh, that sounds excruciating. Also, my gallbladder was removed 40 years ago. I want to start hypernourishment. I have concern about flax GSCs causing complex diarrhea issues. Well, when it comes to severe gut issues, sometimes we just have to personalize it, right? So if you're going to do this on your own, then I recommend you start testing these, right? So try a small amount of smoothie, maybe even with no omega-3. See how you feel. Feel good? Awesome. Write down those ingredients. Safe ingredients for smoothie, right? Then try maybe a tablespoon of flax oil in there. Have your smoothie. Feel good? Done, right? Add more. A lot of folks I see who are afraid of omega-3 actually do fine once I've worked with them. They really just want the comfort of knowing it's going to be okay. And if you have diarrhea, it'll get better. But if you're really worried about it, if you said it's, complex and it's going to be issues, then work your way up. But you need the omega-3 fatty acids. You absolutely need them. And if you put it into a smoothie, then you're spreading the fats out over the course of the whole day, right? So it's not like you're just going to get, like if you drank down like a quarter cup of flax oil, yeah, you're going to lubricate those bowels and send everything out. All of us would, not because of bowel disorder, but because it's lubricating the bowels. You get it nice and greasy. You grease the tube, things fly through, right? But if you want to just kind of slow dose, so you put like a tablespoon in, and then you have so maybe this amount, but spread it out into 3 or 4 doses, right? So that you're basically, if you put 1 tablespoon into that big cup, and then you split that into 3 or 4 cups, and you had 1 cup every couple hours, you're getting like a micro amount of omega-3s. So maybe do it like that and kind of build yourself up to help yourself learn to trust it and trust your gut again. That's how I would do that. Okay, let's see here. Let's go back up to YouTube. Let's see. All right. So Elena has a 2-parter here. What's your opinion about Prevotella? I read that it is commonly associated with rheumatoid arthritis, but also with rich fiber diets. I read a medical article that says a high fiber diet synergizes with Prevotella capri and exacerbates rheumatoid arthritis. In my gut microbiome, there are high amounts of Prevotella. I have RA and I'm hypernourishing. I can't comment on the article. 1, I haven't read it, and 2, I haven't done that testing. So I don't know if this was an incidental finding or anything like that. So on that specific issue, I can't comment on that. If you're seeing a doctor who thinks you have an abnormality in your gut microbiome and they want to help you with that, that's great. But I can tell you for sure that a high fiber diet, specifically a hypernourishing diet, will help you reverse and eliminate rheumatoid arthritis, because I see it every day. This is literally my life's work, what I do with people every day. And it works very, very, very well. So if I had an issue where, man, these people with rheumatoid arthritis just aren't getting better on this diet, I wonder if there's something wrong, then I would start researching to see what else could it be. But I haven't needed to do that, because people with rheumatoid arthritis, especially who do the program, like my aggressive program, sometimes when people tell me it's not working, then they join my rapid recovery group and it works, because they weren't doing it right. They weren't looking at all the areas of their health. Maybe they weren't getting enough sleep. I'm in there. I'm going to make sure you get better. Like that is you just need to participate every day and let me obsess about you and help you. Right. Of course, if you don't participate, well, don't join. Don't take a spot and not use it. But if you participate, I'm going to help you get it right. So I haven't yet seen an issue where I'm like, oh, what's wrong? It must be not like the iodine issue, right? If I see a problem, I am tenacious. I do not stop till I find the answer. So if I find a problem, I will solve it. But I have not needed to solve this problem. So I would say if we did something like we went full goodbye autoimmune protocol on you and you didn't have a change, then I'd go, weird. I wonder if it is that bacteria. But without going full protocol on you, we can't say. So it's really up to you. If you want to try to get treated and see if that makes a difference, you're free to do that. Or if you want to just kind of leave the gut alone and go full protocol and see if it goes away and you don't need to do anything else, that's what I know how to do. That's what I would recommend. Okay. All right, let's see here. Instagram. Jilly Dilly says, all forms of vitamin D give me fatigue. Could it be because it makes me produce more calcium? Any truth to that? Need to take vitamin D help. If it makes you more fatigued, I mean, you need vitamin D. If you have low vitamin D, your immune system doesn't function properly. And if your immune system doesn't function properly, you're not going to feel good. You're going to have all sorts of other issues. We can't allow that to happen. So I'm wondering a couple things. I mean, again, I can't solve all problems over here. So, but I can try throwing some stuff out there without people talking back. I can't get all the details. I'm very detail oriented. That's why my appointments are 75 minutes. I want to hear all of it. Everyone knows when they come to me, I go, tell me the story, tell me everything. Right. So I don't know all of the issues here that we could explore, but if you are low on D, that's a problem. If it makes you tired, I would take it at night. Most people don't do that, by the way. Most people find vitamin D activates them. So sometimes people have a sleep issue because you're taking vitamin D in the afternoon. If that's you and that just gave you an aha, good. But if you're someone, but then there's always opposite. Like there's people who take Benadryl and get hyper while the rest of us are out cold, right? If it makes you tired, take it at night. If it makes you tired all the time, I'm wondering if it's going to resolve though. What I don't know is how long of a try you've given it. For a lot of people, when something gives them a side effect of fatigue, once they get used to it, that side effect goes away. So for example, like Benadryl, right? People who take it once in a while, it knocks us out. But there are people who take it daily, that have allergies that take it daily. And they find in time, it stops knocking them out. Their body kind of adjusts to it. So one thing you could consider is just taking it at night and giving it time. Second thing you consider is just doing the once a week, 50,000 IU once a week instead of taking it every day if you're low. And then if you get your levels up to normal, doing it once a week, you might see if you can maintain those levels at 25 a week or whatever. We could kind of work that way. So, you just have to keep testing things and giving it time, because what you can't do is not take it, because we need vitamin D for people's health. I've seen too many problems with people having low D. Hopefully that gives you some things to try, Jilly. All right, let's see here. Missy J wants to know if I've had results with autoimmune retinopathy. Yes. The results for eye disease have been astounding and remarkable and unrelenting. I have been amazed because, listen, I started out with lupus and then rheumatoid arthritis, and then people with all these rare diseases started coming to me, and I'd say, I don't know, I've never treated it. And then they get better. And the eye diseases have been astounding. So autoimmune retinopathy, autoimmune, uveitis, glaucoma, nearsightedness, people stop using their reading glasses. And it's been remarkable. I spoke probably a month ago about a woman I met who went blind during pregnancy 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and her doctor said it was just like some reaction to pregnancy. I've never even heard of that before, but it happened. And she was completely blind. No shadow, no light, no color. And she started my program recently because of other issues. And now she can see color and light again. What? So eyes absorb this nutrition and love it. If you have eye issues, I recommend it highly. It's been absolutely extraordinary. So yes, let me see. Let's see here. Okay. Sorry, I lost my smoothie shred connection here. There you go. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Louise on Smoothie Shred, who's 71, and it's her first day in the Goodbye Lupus protocol. So excited for you too. We said osteoporosis. Do I need to continue calcium? Okay. And then has visual issues and is asking for audio versions of my books. Yes, I know that has to go on my list. You all don't know how long my list is of the things I need to do. So I tend to spend all of my time taking care of people, honestly. So I have this list of like things I need to do. I need to record my audio book. I need to work on finding good people who can translate books. There's other books that I've wanted to write, but honestly, every free moment I have, I'm either doing service for the public or I'm taking care of people. And when I'm not doing that, I'm with my family. So I don't want to sacrifice anything right now, but I know I need to do it. I need to just commit one day and like sit down and just take a microphone and read my books. I know I need to do that. So Louise, I'm working on it for all of you. I'm sorry, I'm working on that. But osteoporosis, you can take calcium if you want. But the thing you need to do, and I have videos about this, for osteoporosis, you need the hypernourishment, plant-based diet, hypernourishment, and strength training exercise. That's how you build bones. A lot of times doctors will be like, here, take this supplement or this shot, but they don't tell people that they need to do the strength training exercise. Without the exercise, your bones will weaken no matter what. So make sure you're doing that. And good luck on the protocol. I'm excited for you. Very happy that you're doing it. Okay, and let's see here. Back around again to YouTube. All right, we got to do the fast. Got to go into hyperdrive. Let's see if I can do some fast ones here. Let's see. All right, let's see if I can help Sarah. So Sarah says lupus with MS, currently on the Goodbye Lupus protocol, strict protocol. What causes rapid heart rate upon easy movement, and are dehydrated flax and chia seeds allowed on top of meeting dietary? So rapid heart rate is caused by many things, all right? One, adrenaline, right? Someone startles you, right? Or you get excited. Actually, it's the same process. One of the ways to help people with anxiety is to help them understand that excited and anxious feel the same when it comes to the adrenaline. So sometimes you can just convert how you feel. Instead of I'm anxious, I'm excited, just on the side. So adrenaline can do it. Excitement, right? Fear. Exercise can do it. If you are out of shape, if you don't move much, then even small amounts of movement can actually make your heart rate faster because your heart is so used to you being sedentary. Even small amounts of movement can do it. The most common reason people get a rapid heart rate is actually dehydration. So for example, if you, when you move, your heart needs to keep the blood supply going, right? So like, for example, when you go from sitting down for a long time to standing up, suddenly the blood flow pattern needs to change. And we need to make sure gravity doesn't suck all the blood down to your feet when you stand up, but keep it up in your brain so you don't pass out, right? So the heart rate will speed up to try to get the blood. Oh, wait, gravity's changing. Let's get it up to the head, right? Which is why people who are dehydrated tend to see spots when they stand up, is that the blood is too slow and thick and the heart's like, just get it up there, right? It's too sludgy. Right? So a lot of people, they don't realize that they see spots and their heart races. It's just dehydration. If you're on my full protocol, it shouldn't be dehydration. So I don't know. It might just be, especially if you've got MS, lupus, it might just be either of those first two also. But just know that you don't need to be afraid of your heart going fast. The heart is a muscle, and when it's going fast, it's getting exercise. So a lot of times when people's heart rate goes fast, they get scared, which then does what? Adrenaline makes your heart go faster. Then they get more scared, and then it goes faster, and then they end in a panic attack, and everything's okay. And they'll often tell me that when their heart goes fast, they think they're going to have a heart attack. But it's important to know that a heart attack is not from a heart going fast. A heart does not have an attack from going fast or from going quickly. A heart attack is from a clog in a blood vessel that feeds the heart, right? So if you clog up a blood vessel that provides blood to the heart, because the heart also needs blood it's an organ, it needs to be fed. So if one of the arteries that feeds the heart gets blocked, then that area of the heart suddenly has no blood flow, it dies off, and it's very painful, and that's a heart attack. That is an area of the heart that is dying from a lack of blood flow. That's not a rapid heartbeat. That is a whole nother thing, right? So oftentimes what helps people feel better is knowing that, oh, if their heart's racing a bit, it's not a heart attack, it's just exercise. And that has actually helped a lot of folks I see. Whenever their heart races, I tell them to say, ooh, free exercise. And then they're like, free exercise. And then they kind of chuckle and then it comes back down because they're not agitated. So sometimes when you're really paying attention to your heart rate, then you might notice it more than other people. Someone else might not even notice that their heart rate changed. But once you're tuned in and you notice, then as it starts to go up, you also get more nervous about it, which then makes it go faster, et cetera, et cetera. So if you've seen a heart doctor or your regular doctor and they say you have no abnormalities, you're electrical, because you do want to make sure you don't have an electrical arrhythmia, you don't have anything pathological going on. But if your heart looks okay from your doctors, which I'm assuming you've had it checked out if you're worried about it enough to ask someone online, you see your doctor. If you have any fears, please do not avoid going to a doctor if you think there's something wrong with you, right? So see your doctor, and if they said your heart's fine, then you can use any of the tips I just gave you. The other one is, are dehydrated flaxseed chia seeds allowed in meeting your diet? Yes, they just don't count towards your omega-3 because I said earlier, omega-3 fatty acids are easily oxidized from heat and air. So once you've dehydrated them, I just count them as bonus free food, but I don't count them towards protocol. All right, let's see here. And Facebook. Let's see. All right. I love how interactive everybody is, how enthusiastic. It makes me happy. Dr. Ruth, did you see Dr. Ruth passed away? She actually made me feel better. Dr. Ruth was amazing. But one of the interviews I was watching, I was kind of remembering her with my mom. We were watching interviews, and she said years later, she first came on and she was just starting to do her show, and she was taking so many questions because she felt like she had to answer all of them. And then later she realized it's better to like answer things in depth, and then people will still learn. And I was like, thanks, Dr. Ruth, because sometimes I feel pressure, like there's so many questions and I can only answer so many, but hopefully you keep getting help and answers as you come back. So let me see. All right. This is a different question. Alicia wants to know, can eating too much nutritional yeast be harmful? I easily eat 2 cups a day or more. I don't know. I've never tested that. You said it's unfortified. So fortified, you would risk like a B overdose, although B6, you can't, not B12. Although I calculated yesterday, bizarrely, someone was worried that he could be getting too much B6 from eating my Nucci dressing because he's in love with my cheesy Nucci dressing in my Goodbye Lucas All Delicious book. But we figured out he was getting like a 1/4 cup a day Nucci, which was 6 milligrams of B6. And in order to overdose on B6, you need over 100 milligrams a day. So that would have been like over 5 cups. Like there was no way. He wasn't, even with it fortified, he wasn't overdosing. But if you're just eating unfortified nutritional yeast, I don't know of any problem with that. But if you're feeling off, then that would be something to check with. I mean, most people just use it as a bit of a flavoring and not as a meal. But I'd say if you're getting results doing well, leave it. If you're not getting results and you're struggling, then that would be one thing I'd take out, just because it's not necessary for health and you are having a lot of it. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. Whenever people ask me like, what's too much of something, I'm always concerned, like how much you doing. So at least you're honest about that. Let me see in Instagram. All right, let's see. Thanks, Diana. I hope you're well too. I shared your story the other day. Let's see. Best way to supplement vitamin D. So vitamin D is one that you should all test. It is just not true. Scientifically, it has not worked out to be true that 15 minutes of sunlight a day will fix D deficiency. No, most of us do what I do. Live inside, right? So even though I like to go outside on the weekends or take a walk, I took a walk yesterday after work, my D levels were still low without supplementing. We're just designed to be outdoor animals, but now we're indoor animals, right? So that's okay. You need to supplement. So what you want to do is check your levels. And what I found in terms of health and recovery and results is over 40 for your blood level. So the lab will say over 30 is in range, but I've just seen over 40 is good. Sometimes people will have really high levels. I've never seen a downside to it, but I mean, you don't need to have super high levels of D, but between 40 and 70 is like you're in the safety zone. If it's low, you need to do a loading dose. So 50,000 IU is a loading dose for vitamin D. And you have a couple choices. You can either do 50,000 IU once a week, which is often what your prescription would be from your doctor, or you do 50,000 IU once and then start taking anywhere to 2,000 to 5,000 a day. And then you should be able to get your levels back to normal. And once they're normal, 500 IU is usually enough to maintain it, 500 to 1,000, something like that. Right? All right. And it's late, but let me just grab one more smoothie shred. So I'm like even, I don't have any more letters. So let me see here. All right. Todd says that he was diagnosed with CMML and has been hypernourishing, but not getting better yet. Wants to know if there's improvement. If you've got CMML, I would go all in on the Goodbye Lupus protocol, not just hypernourishment. I don't have someone that I can think of personally, but I do have someone who told me. So I got, how do I say without, so there's someone that I saw who had an assistant, and her assistant made her see me because she read my book and healed her daughter from this. It was actually CML. So she got her daughter got diagnosed. She put her on my protocol. Her next set of labs were negative, and then she's like, "You need to go see her too." And then I helped her reverse her kidney failure and her strokes and lupus. But so I'd go all in if you haven't yet, and maybe there's something else that you can do to get yourself healthy. Hypernourishment is a great start, though. So. All right, it's late. I stayed too long, and I have more people to see. Like I said, I spend the rest of my day either on the phone or on Zoom working with people. So if you want me to actually see you and work with you, you can always go to goodbyelupus.com and you can make an appointment with me. My appointments are 75 minutes. I get to know you. I give you a plan. If you want to work with me every day, Rapid Recovery is the way to go. We have a group starting August 16th. If you just want more information because you got the motivation, you just need the info, go to goodbyelupus.com right now and just watch the classes for free. There's nothing missing information-wise. That's what I love is whenever people see me, they go, okay, it's not different info. You've just helped me understand how to do it for myself. You've helped me see why I hold myself back. You've helped me understand my illness better and how to get better results, right? But it's not like there's a secret ingredient that I didn't teach. That's just not me. So make sure you're watching the classes and take action. Take action every day because you're worth it, all right? So I hope you had a great time with me. I hope, Diane, you saw me read your letter. And for all the rest of you who saw me live, thanks for coming. I hope this helped you out. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Bye.